We're back at it with episode 6 of Tom's Stadium Takes and Travels. I'm out here in the Bay Area where the next 2 episodes will take place. But for this episode, we're checking out the Oakland Athletics and their battle with the other Bay Area team, the San Francisco Giants, in the last ever Bay Bridge Series game. It is a truly historic game that we're about to attend. I cannot wait. When the A's announced that they were leaving Oakland after the season, I knew I had to make it a priority to get out here and see the A's in Oakland, because I gotta get their hat and I gotta just see a historic place like the Coliseum before they probably tear it down. And of course, in the next episode, we're going to San Francisco to see the Giants play at Oracle Park, since they're right there. Today will be my first and last visit to the Oakland Coliseum, so we better make it count. So the Oakland Coliseum is the only place the Athletics have ever known while playing in Oakland since they arrived in the city in 1968. The place was built 2 years earlier in 1966. The Coliseum was seen as a great stadium in those days, back in the late 60s, early 70s, as it attracted not only the A's, but the NFL team, the Raiders. And also back in those days, those multi-purpose cookie-cutter stadiums, those were the thing. Now, the Raiders would actually leave for Los Angeles in 1982 because the owner of the team, Al Davis, he wanted to install luxury suites. He was told no, so he was like, screw it, I'm just gonna move south. When the Raiders left, the A's would take full advantage of it, and they turned the Coliseum into a baseball-only venue. After the Raiders' departure, the A's would benefit on the field. They won 3 American League pennants, and of course, they won the Battle of the Bay World Series, sweeping the Giants in 1989. However, in 1995, the Raiders would return to Oakland under the agreement that the place would expand its capacity and make the place more football friendly. Thus, the monstrosity that is Mount Davis was built. It expanded capacity all right, but it blocked beautiful views of the Oakland Hills that folks in the East Bay had grown accustomed to. Because so many seats were available, the A's had a hard time selling season tickets, and folks could essentially sit wherever they wanted. People were often spread out, and that led to a poor atmosphere. See, football is a much more grand experience, while baseball is a lot more intimate. So Mount Davis really hurt the A's. The A's would end up tarping off Mount Davis, which closed nearly 40% of the place. The Coliseum would actually end up having the lowest seating capacity in the MLB because of the tarps. And because of city regulations, Oakland couldn't put advertisements on the tarps, so they couldn't make more money, and they just kept losing it. In 2005, a man named John Fisher buys the A's and promises to build a more baseball-friendly stadium in the area. For the first decade, Fisher had no luck after attempts in Fremont and San Jose failed. But in 2014, Fisher would sign a new 10-year lease with Oakland to stay at the Coliseum for 10 more years to buy them time to find a new home. Meanwhile, the Raiders, on the other hand, they did not like the fact that their baseball roommates had just signed a new 10-year lease. They had planned to make renovations to the Coliseum to make it a football-only venue. That would lead the Raiders to leave again to where they are now, in Las Vegas. And of course, the Raiders did not like the poor state that the Coliseum was in, so they were just like, screw it, we're out. I know there are folks that are gonna disagree with this, especially Oakland A's fans that might find this video, but I really do believe the A's made a sincere effort to try to stay in Oakland. After an attempt at a local community college failed, the A's put all their chips into a site on the Howard Terminal. That's a marine terminal for cargo ships that is owned by the Port of Oakland. But progress on the site was too slow, and local and environmental groups were constantly filing lawsuits to block the stadium from being built. Oakland leaders couldn't guarantee a deal could be done before the January 2024 deadline, and if they hadn't gotten the deal done by then, the A's would lose revenue from the MLB, and that would be really bad for the organization if they hadn't got that revenue share from the MLB. In April of 2023, the A's announced that they had purchased land to build a new stadium in Las Vegas. And when that was announced, the A's and the city of Oakland ended negotiations. No matter what you think about this whole situation, it truly is a heartbreaking time for folks in Oakland, and I really do feel their pain. Nevertheless, I am excited to see this game today. I'm excited to see the Coliseum. I know it's a much maligned place. I want to go see this place for myself and see how bad this place really is. But even then, even if it is bad, there's got to be some good characteristics to it. So let's go check this place out, and let's go enjoy the last ever Bay Bridge Series game between the Oakland Athletics and the San Francisco Giants. Back on another public transit train. I'm on the BART, or Bay Area Rapid Transit. We're on the way to Oakland and the Coliseum, which has its own BART stop. How convenient.
There are two public transit options to get to the Oakland Coliseum. The BART, of course, is one of them, and the other option is this train rolling in right here called the Capitol Corridor. That's an Amtrak train that runs through Northern California that goes from Sacramento through the Bay Area to San Jose. We're going to walk around the Coliseum for a bit, but before we do, I want to take a moment to point out the behind of the Coliseum scoreboard. You got the A's logo on the left, the Rickey Henderson Field logo in the center, that's who the playing surface is named after, and that blank space on the right was where the Raiders logo used to lie. Very soon, the behind of that scoreboard will be completely blank. This building here is the Oakland Arena, formerly known as the Oracle Arena, the former home of the NBA team, the Golden State Warriors. They used to call this place the Roracle Arena because it was one of the NBA's loudest arenas during the Warriors' 2010s dynasty run. All right, let's make our way inside the stadium. Let's check out the team store. It's a very small team store for a Major League Baseball franchise. In the end, I picked up this hat to add to my hat collection, and I also got this elephant, as the A's mascot is Stopper the Elephant. I, of course, got this for my nephew. Now, you might be thinking, why are the A's associated with elephants? This goes back to the franchise's early days in Philadelphia. John McGraw, who was the manager of the Baltimore Orioles, was asked about the A's during a press conference. He said, "The Philadelphia club will make no money. They have a big white elephant on their hands." White elephant in those days was used as an insult that meant something that's expensive to keep in good condition, but also completely useless. Team owner and manager Connie Mack couldn't help but chuckle at that jab and decided to make it a rallying cry for the team. We're going to walk around the concourses in just a moment, but first, I want to point out that a couple of the gates here at the Coliseum are named after legendary players. Gate C here is named after Hall of Fame pitcher Catfish Hunter. And this here is Gate D, named after another Hall of Fame pitcher, Dennis Eckersley. This concession stand right here is called Tejada's Tacos, named after A's legendary shortstop Miguel Tejada. Welcome to Shibe Park Tavern. Shibe Park was the name of the franchise's home in Philadelphia. You'll see some bricks inside here, and those bricks were used at the actual Shibe Park. Also inside, you'll see some memorabilia from the Athletics Philadelphia days. here the A's got a wiffle ball field and even their own garden. Now that's interesting. We're gonna step inside the treehouse. This is an area for the kids. They've got their own little play area off to the right. Up ahead, you'll see a base running challenge. This is inspired by Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson, who's the guy you see on the wall there. Major League Baseball's all-time leader in career stolen bases. You've also got a batting cage, some Hall of Fame posters, a game of bags, and coming up, you'll see games like ping pong and pool, as well as a whole bar area. We're going to make our way to the lower concourse. To get there, you had to take a ramp. Let's begin our tour of the lower concourse. This is going to be a longer tour because the concourse here is so cramped, and given that this was the last Bay Bridge Series game, it was going to be very packed. This is not normal for a typical A's game. Don't worry though, it'll be sped up. While we're walking through this crowded concourse, let's talk a little bit about the history of this franchise. So as mentioned, the team started in Philadelphia in 1901. They were a charter member of the American League. The A's won the World Series 5 times in Philadelphia and were led by 50 years by Hall of Fame manager and owner Connie Mack. In 1955, the team would move to Kansas City, and after spending just 13 seasons there, owner Charlie Finley would move the team to Oakland, where the A's would quickly establish themselves as one of the powerhouse teams in the early 1970s, winning 3 World Series championships in a row from 1972 to 1974. The name Athletics comes from the 1860s when it was adopted by the Athletic Club of Philadelphia's amateur baseball team. The term athletic club was often used to refer to local gentlemen's clubs in those days. They became a professional team in 1875 and kept the name, but after one season playing in the National League in 1876, they got expelled from the league. In 1901, Connie Mack brought the team back, and he was the original owner and manager of this new version of the Philadelphia Athletics. Throughout the decades and the relocations, the name has always stuck. In the Coliseum, the A's had this whole wall that displayed the team's incredible history. Some absolutely legendary players and coaches made their name in Oakland. If I may opine about the team's impending relocation for a bit here, so the A's are going to play the remainder of the 2024 season in Oakland, which will be their final year here. They'll then move to Sacramento to a minor league stadium for at least 3 years before hoping to settle in their new permanent home in Las Vegas by 2028. As I mentioned in the pregame monologue, I do think John Fisher tried to get a deal done in Oakland many times. I still do, however, and this is a harsh opinion, think he's an asshole for not selling the team. If he couldn't get a deal done, he should have sold it to someone who could have and was willing to keep the team in Oakland. It's a terrible look for Fisher that he is throwing away all of this colorful history. I mean, just look at all this. This is a really cool franchise. And sadly, he's throwing it all away. It's a damn shame. As the game was just about to begin, the A's played a hype video on the scoreboard, and as I swing the camera there, you'll notice out in center field that Holy Toledo sign lights up. That was the catchphrase of longtime A's broadcaster Bill King. It usually lights up every time the A's do something good on the field. This whole grandstand here is what I was talking about earlier, Mount Davis, named after former Raiders owner Al Davis. As you can see, it's not really of good use for baseball, but the A's make the most of it by displaying their retired numbers. From left to right, number 9 for Reggie Jackson, number 24 for Ricky Henderson, number 43 for Dennis Eckersley, 2 number 34s for Rollie Fingers and Dave Stewart, and number 27 for Catfish Hunter. Before we get to the actual gameplay, I want to take a moment to shout out the Bleacher Bums. Those are the dedicated fans out in right field with all the banners, waving flags, and even banging drums. Let's listen to them for a bit. All right, let's get into gameplay. The A's struck first with this RBI, giving them a 1-0 lead. But the Giants would respond, hitting a solo homer. The game would actually go into extras. But before we get into that, a couple more things I'd like to talk about. If you looked at the A's wall of history, you may have noticed that they claim to have invented the wave here at the Coliseum. Well, here they are doing just that. I also had to try to get some food. So here's something called the Colossal Dog. It's just a standard hot dog, but it's pretty big. Let's try it out.
All right, let's give the Colossal Hot Dog a try. Pretty standard. Nothing special about it. But, like usual, it gets the job done.
All right, in the 10th inning, the Giants would make their move. Gerard Encarnacion and Michael Conforto hit back-to-back homers for the Giants, and they would take a 4-1 lead. Then it was the A's turn in the bottom of the 10th. They would actually load up the bases without any outs. Let's see what they made of it. Unfortunately for Oakland, only one run would come across in the 10th, and the Giants would take it 4-2.
Well, that's going to wrap things up here in Oakland. In the last ever Bay Bridge Series game, it was the Giants who would prevail 4-2 over the Athletics. If you like this video, be sure to give this video a like, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you love stadium content as much as I do. Thank you so much for watching. Signing off from the Oakland Coliseum. We'll see you in the next video.
hard to believe this series is over. Thank you for the memories, Oakland Athletics. Hope to vlog you guys in Las Vegas.